How's it going, y'all? So I wanted to give a quick little update to the combat drone controller that I'm making for the Unity Asset Store and that I'm using in my own drone v drone game. So I added a couple new features. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll set up a new scene. I'm just going to come down here, duplicate the demo scene. We'll just call this demo bear, and I'm calling it that because I want to remove the tricopter. So we're starting with just a scene with the little targets. The targets are already set up with the lock-on target. And yeah, so let's go ahead and add a new tricopter, or we'll add let's add a quadcopter in this example. So we're going to add this. Actually, tell you what, we'll add the base since it already has all the extra little things in it, the aim point, pitch point, yaw point, and that kind of jazz. And first thing I'm going to show you is the new and improved drone setup script. So let me grab that. It went over to my other screen. Pull this over. So the UI here changed pretty significantly. And I also added different presets and stuff like that. So we can come in here, just add our quadcopter, and we'll say that this right here is our array size for our rotors. We can just add these one by one. So we defined our propellers, our rotors using the propeller child objects in the drone. We'll go ahead, you can either assign an aim point or you can create one. So if you don't do any of these, it'll automatically create it when it creates the drone. But I already have an aim point, so I'm going to add this. And what this is going to do is this kind of tells the camera and the aimer where to aim. Let's see, we have our input actions. So let's go ahead and add the combat drone input actions, which comes with the package. And I do have a hide cursor on play script. This is just make it easier for testing. So what's going to happen right now is I can come in here and I can choose one of the presets. In this case, because I set everything up myself, it's a custom implementation. But let's say we want a flying only preset. So this is just going to make a drone that can only, well, you probably guessed, fly around. So go ahead and enter play mode. So as you can see, I'm flying around. You probably can't hear it or tell, but I am trying to shoot. Nothing is being shot because, well, this drone has been set up without any weapon systems, right? So I can't even lock on because the lock on was not set up. And I kind of did this because I figured maybe someone wants a bare bones, just flying drone setup. They don't want something that can shoot. They just want something that can fly around, right? So that's your basic setup. Now, let's say you want something that's a little bit more involved, right? So we have our flying with lock on, and I'm not going to go through showing you all the presets because you can probably infer where this is going, but I will show you one of the additions, the second addition that, so the other addition is the addition of an ADS camera view. So that's aim down sights. So I realized after I pushed up what I had is the lock-on system is nice, but what if you want to aim, right? What if you don't want a lock-on system? What if you just want an aim system? So both of those are more modular now. So you can have one, you can have the other, you can have neither. You can have them without a weapon system. You can have them with a weapon system. So it's pretty modular. So in this case, we're adding the weapon system, we're adding the lock-on targeting, and we're adding the aim down sights camera. So let's go ahead and set up our weapon. So we drag and drop our weapon child object, and I do have a projectile prefab. So I'm gonna come in here, and the pop-up showed up in my other window. Let me just drag it over so you can see what I'm doing. So we'll say projectile. This is gonna be in our assets. There we go. So this is just a simple projectile, nothing crazy. The articulated, oh my God, I cannot speak. The articulated object, excuse me, this is the thing that we want to be moving around. So in this case, this is also the turret attachment. The yaw pivot is going to be this. The pitch pivot is going to be that. So think of yaw as rotating around the I cannot speak, the y-axis, and pitch as whatever's rotating over the x-axis. So up and down, left and right, if that makes sense. And then we have the barrel base. So in order to have some kind of aiming, you have to have a line. So we use the barrel base in combination with the muzzle point as a way to create a line so that we can have an articulating turret. And then we'll just define the fire control. So this is going to be the input, and because we're using the new input system, this will make it easier to have this controller can work on different platforms. So whether you want to make something for PlayStation or for mobile or for PC, right? As long as you are using the new input system and you just define what the control schemes are for those different platforms, then you can use the same input controls everywhere. So for the lock on, we'll just use the lock on control from that. And then for the ADS, we'll use aim, and I'm gonna make the transition speed as fast as possible. So we'll give it a 10. And yeah, so smooth transitions is if you want the transition to have a, well, you'll see it in a second. I'll demonstrate. So now what we can do is, now this is saying set up drone over here because it's assuming that this is a new drone. What I can do is I can, since I have this drone selected already, I can just say, or sorry, I can say load selected, right? So now it knows that it's going to update an existing setup, and then we can go ahead and hit update drone. Drone updated successfully. All right, so probably saw a bunch of stuff show up in the inspector. So we have our lock-on system, for example. But let's go ahead and hit play. And I want to demonstrate the aim down sights functionality, which I'm very excited about. And it's something that I do need for my own game. So we come over here, and now when I hit the right mouse button, it zooms in, right? So if I'm locked into something, so right now I'm locked in to this target, I can cancel the lock by either exiting the lock on range, right? So that snaps me out of the range. That snaps me out of lock on when I'm out of range, or I can aim and fire, right? So it's a nice little, that's it. It's nothing crazier than that. But yeah, so you can also customize the camera angle. So if you want to have more of an angle where it's looking above the drone, or you want to have it zoomed in even further, or not as zoomed in, you can come over here into the Cinemachine setup, which should be right here. And you can fudge around with the rotation composer or the position composer, or you can just use the ADS controller directly, and this will manage it for you. So let's say we want the camera distance to be something super zoomed in too. So now, wow, look at that. See how zoomed in that is, right? The transition speed is right here. If we remove the smoothing, then when we aim, it'll snap to the smoothing, to the zoomed in view. So yeah, that's it. Little nifty update for y'all, little quality of life improvement and functionality boost. But yeah, so this is still, like I said, this is still waiting approval from the Asset Store moderation team. Hopefully it gets accepted soon. So yeah, that's it. Just wanted to give you all a little update. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one.